All right, so we're going to go ahead and pick up where we left off with our outlet practice, and we're going to talk about IB actions here for a little bit. So we're going to talk about how we can add buttons and make some changes to our app by establishing some connections and just telling our code to make those changes here. So let's get right to it. So let's go to our storyboard. What I'm going to have you guys do right now is let's throw a button on there. So let's go search for button down here. Let's drag a button out and just put it right below our label. Okay, next we'll line that up. There's my guideline. Okay, so we got that, and then go ahead and change the text of that button. We'll just say click here. Okay, and then we'll drag that out a little bit and make sure it's a little, there we go. So that's going to be our button. All right, so now just like IB outlets, we got to connect this to our code. So now when we are doing our code here, we always want to put our actions below view.did_load. All right, so we'll just kind of get in that practice here. So go ahead and I'm going to put this comment. So now let's talk about creating an action. So same process, I'm going to control and then drag over to my code to connect it. The first step is very important. We need to change the connection type. We're set at outlet. We want it to be an action. So go ahead and change that to action. And now we got to name it. So we'll go ahead and say on button press. So we'll be descriptive, just saying when the button's pressed, this is going to happen. Leave everything else as is and go ahead and connect that. So now again, when you look, you got to check, make sure it says IB action, all right, not IB outlet. If it's an outlet, you'll have issues, okay? And then so now what's going to happen, all right, it's basically inside of our code here, okay, this function is, anything that we put inside these two curly braces will happen when we press the button. Just like up here, anything that we put inside these two curly braces happens when the view loads. Same thing is going to happen here. So when we press this button, we're going to make some changes to our app. Okay, so now again, when you go to your storyboard, again, let's take a look at our connections inspector. Now we have these received actions down here ready to go. So now very important, okay, so now if you accidentally hooked up a label, so actually I'll go ahead and show you this as well. So let's say I dragged here and by accident I left it as outlet, but I wasn't paying attention to what Mr. Snyder was saying, and I click on that and click connect. Then I realize, oh shoot, I do not want this to be an outlet, okay, so because right now we've got an outlet here hooked up to the label to our button, but we don't want that. Okay, so we would come back, obviously we would want to delete this. So when I delete this thing here, that goes away, okay, but now the problem that's going to exist, okay, is now that outlet still, still exists in our connections inspector. So you can see we've got a little message here. It looks like an exclamation point saying, where is it? All right, it's looking for that and it's showing that it's missing. So if you were to run your app right now, your app wouldn't work. It would crash right away because it could not find this connection, and that'd be a problem. Okay, so that's a common mistake. So you just have to be careful so that if you put an outlet or something you don't want and you delete it, make sure you come to that connections inspector, and to get rid of it, just put your mouse over the X here and it goes away and we're exactly where we need to be. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So now inside our action, we're going to change the so we loaded up our text to Chris Snyder here, so we'll go ahead and let's change the background color of our app to a different color when we press it. Okay, so we're going to go view. So what that means is we're loading the view property of the app, which is the whole screen. So we're going to go view.background color. So again, just like dot syntax, these are all the properties available to view. And then we can filter and look for background color. All right, so now let's go ahead and change that to a color, and we'll go ahead and change it to a green color. All right, nice beautiful green there. Okay, so now again, since I'm connected, again, this button is connected to my code, so anything that happens inside the curly braces happens when I press this button. So let's give it a run, take a look at how this works out here. All right, so here we go. So app is loaded. All right, so we got my name. So now when I click here, my screen should turn green. I do that, and there you have it. So right now we have clicked and it's green. Clicking again doesn't do anything yet. You would have to program that, and that is possible, and we'll get to that. And that's something that you might want to try on your own, how to click here and take it to another color or take it back to white, back and forth. Definitely something you could try out there. But for right now, we're just starting simple. So once again, I've clicked and the background turns green. So you could go through and you could access your label. So I could go hello label. So once again, I don't have to type another outlet. I just use the same outlet, and I could change the text color to UI color dot red color. Okay, so now what should happen is when I press the button, background should go green, hello should turn from blue to red. So let's give it a try here. I'm going to change my size down to just 6 here, just to get a little fit on the screen a little better. So I run it, build succeed, that is good. And it's currently running, it's building it, this outstanding app that we have going here. Okay, so load, so there we go. So let's see what happens. I click, yep, Chris Snyder's now red, background is green, so we have a working connection. We have a working action here, so we have an IB action in place. So as you can see, it's not, it's a simple process of clicking and dragging. You just have to pay attention to the details. Make sure you change the connection type to action, and make sure that you just put everything inside the 2 curly braces here to make it work. Okay, and if you do that, you should have no problem getting your interface to change when you click a button. Okay, so again, when you practice on this over the next couple days, keep those small things in mind and remember what we talked about, our connections. Again, if you ever have any issues where, again, your app's crashing right away, check the connections, and if you see over here that one of these is an exclamation point, that's a big problem. You got to get rid of that. All right, guys, so good job. We'll see you next time.